Welcome, welcome. Welcome everybody to another New York session here in the morning on 11th May. It's such a beautiful morning today. It's nice and cloudy outside. Seems like it's going to snow, but hopefully we have clear skies and nice weather. Um, it was an interesting weekend here. Interesting weekend. So let's take a look here for a sec. Thank you, air control, air control. So let's take a look here for a sec. All right. So basically, currently right now, we did tap into 132,900. This was the resistance from yesterday where I sent my analysis and we went up, starting to come down now. So let's take a look at what's going on here. Let's remove everything from GPJPY and start with the daily. Daily is now starting to come bearish. It looks like it's coming below 132,348, which is a retest area actually. And just by looking on the 4 hour. It does seem like we're coming down to some sort of a support right here around 132. So we're going to go down to the 1 hour time frame and we're going to take a look at the support area, and it seems like this is where the market opened down over here. If you look left, this was some sort of support at 132,100, and we're coming down at the same level. So I mean, if it continues down here, I might start for looking for buys if we have a candle closing bullish. We might want to do that. But so far, we have to wait. Let's take a look at, let's see here.
Morning, good morning.
Hey, good morning, good morning.
Hi, buddy. Well,
good. Yeah, how are you?
good. Very well, thank you. Good session this morning. So good.
Oh, you caught those cells.
Yeah, from about we had a sell stop earlier on at about I think it was like 650, and then I've took another one from just below 500.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it's worked out well this morning.
Yeah, that was pretty nice. Like after we broke that support around 132,700, it was just.
Yeah, so we had a sell stop basically below that green bearish candle that's just on that. Oh, hang on, I'll show you my bad. So sell stops below there basically. That was the first option, and then basically I took one on the 5 minutes somewhere in here around 500 to sell further because I was looking at the weekly, creating a lower wick basically.
Yeah.
You've got yours is slightly different to mine, but.
That's the same thing overall.
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah, I was looking at this. I was looking at this candle, and I was like, what if this respects this area and starts going up? You know, so I decided to wait. And I look at the 15 minute. The 15 minute seems like it could drop more. You know, down to the support.
Yeah, I played that off to get in there. I played that on the 5 minute basically. Any other way was a bit tough, I think, like you said, because it could have respected that. But I got in, it kind of gave me like a 12, 13 pip range ish. So it was probably worth it then at that point. But 15 minute was too tough.
Yeah, I guess just gonna cool it for now and wait to see what happens.
Yeah, so it's solid-ish level now, so.
Yeah. Ooh, gold came further down. You know, looking at the daily on GJ, I do think that we're kind of like respecting this resistance. We have to respect this area and then continue moving down. That's my bias on the higher time frames on GJ.
Yep, very similar to what we were discussing. Yep.
Yeah, it's like looking for sells overall. Let's see what happens. Let's take a look at pre-markets here this morning. Pre-markets. Pre-markets are down. Interesting. Pre-markets have never helped me make a decision, by the way. So the only reason I look at the pre-markets is just to look at the pre-markets. So the Dow here, it says it's down. So if you look at US 30 is also coming down. And that's all what I can deduce from pre-markets. All right, let's take a look at this chart here. Edric, this is your JPY 1 hour chart. Entry buy when candle close bullish on support, stop below the bullish candle. That looks good. Looks good for it to continue up over here. I'm not sure about up there. I mean, if there's volume, then price could break above 116,200 and continue moving bullish. But let's take a look at your JPY here. Oh yeah, it looks good. Let's take a look on 30 minute. 30 minute also looks good. The previous one closed like a doji candle. So this one should continue moving bullish as long as it respects the low right over here. Let's take a look at 15 minute. 15 minute has also created that arc now, so should be good to continue up till 116, 200. As long as you keep seeing 15-minute candles close bullish, I think it should be good. Yeah, the one thing I'm concerned about, GJ, is that it might start ranging in New York session, so I'm going to be very cautious about that. Because right now it's in this minor range. It's a 30 pip range it's in. All right, what's this chart? Let's take a look here. This is... Oh, wrong chart. Interesting. What's the difference between a range and a zone? Zones are zones. Zones are your support resistance zones. Mostly ranges are a range is a difference between two zones. I had a question looking at the bearish candle. It filled the wick of the 1 hour, 4 hour, and 1 hour hasn't closed yet. Should we wait for candles to close, or we should enter the trade with after wick fills? Well, I was actually looking at this, I was looking at this and I saw, okay, there's this wick fill over here, wick fill over here, it might fill this, but the 30-minute had created like a minor support, so I kind of stayed away from it. I wanted to execute, but I stayed away from it based on that factor. So now I'm just gonna kind of wait to see, what happens after this candle closes, how this candle closes. Because if this closes bullish around, like 130, above 132, 100, I might be looking for buys to, take like a trade within this range, this 30 pip range, to get like 10, 15 pips. How can I copy the link of my chart? I think you need to watch the video. Which time frame was 132,700 zone based on? Oh, this was based on the 1 hour. This was based on the 1 hour. Because, in Asian, we had a pull up, we broke up, we made like, highs, came down, then 1 hour created support, then came up, created kind of like a resistance, came down, respected this same area as support, so now support was established. So that's where I got that area from. So that's your support created. You can say like in pre-London. Yeah, pre-London you have support created. Man, you can see gold respecting this area and then broke this support. The spreads aren't back to normal on gold. They're
They've
almost,
kind of settled for me, but then they're still nowhere near like they used to be. I think this might be where it's going to stay now.
yeah. I mean, they're a little better, but they're not the same as they were before.
Well, basically, I'm getting between 2 and 4, so it's a lot better than it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, gold I think has been compromised.
Compromised is a good word.
Yeah.
I think really now, well, what I've been looking for is a bit more longer time frame kind of plays. Still risking the same, but just more longer. Like, just look at the picture a bit bigger. Instead of trying to aim for 10, 15, 20 pips, I'm aiming for bigger targets now, but based
Yeah,
on high
that's
time
true.
frames. Still same risk, but just bigger stops and stuff.
All right, let's take a look at this chart here. I'm waiting for G to show me something. Price broke support, made a low, waiting for resistance to be formed. Yeah, I'm kind of looking for that as well. If candles break below here, they should flip the daily bearish. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense, Daniel. I'm looking at the same things. Like, it's coming down, making a low. I mean, and if the daily does flip bearish, then daily's going to continue going bearish. So this is a very strong support here. 132, 100. It's a very strong support. So it's a waiting game for now. We're going to see what happens here. Ideally, Daniel, I think you're right. That price broke support and it came down, created a low, just like we did over here. So it'll be better for it to come up, create like a minor resistance, and then continue moving down. My higher time frame bias is bearish, looking on the daily. We're expecting this resistance here to continue down to retest the low at 130, 13800. All right, no trade, Raja, GJ bearish for now. Yeah, I'm kind of waiting. I can't take a buy because candles are all bearish. I can't take a sell because my stop is going to be really big and support is right there. So there's nothing I could do right now. This is another chart here. This is previous 30-minute candle closed bearish, 1 hour bearish as well. Stop loss above 30-minute candle. Um, Entry once price breaks this over here. Watch price run approaches to use wick secure profit. Yeah, I like this idea. I like this idea, but then it's like let's see how far this is, because if this candle closes bullish, let's say, right? For example, this candle closes bullish here, the 30-minute candle, and then if you know, even if an entry is taken after the low is broken, you stop at like, okay, 10, 12, 14 pips, but then I mean, you have this area to the left-hand side that may, like, it may cause some problems as price starts to come down, because candles are always looking left. Whenever candles are moving, they're always looking left. So when candles moving down, it's looking left to see, okay, what did the candles do to the left? They're like, okay, well, we found support. We kind of bounced from here. This was the market open on Sunday, so it might start acting finicky at this point. So that's why I won't be in favor of this analysis here, because there's this here. So I would want to see a high form, like a minor resistance, and then continuation down, and that continuation could break this support and continue moving down.
So that's a good word for Monday. Finicky.
Finicky.
Yeah, man. That's a good word.
Like Friday, finicky.
Finicky Friday.
Finicky Friday.
That's one thing we were talking about this morning. It is Monday as well. You don't want to start rushing into stuff. See the setups and make sense first.
Finicky Fridays.
Friday was a good day.
Yeah. What's this? So I took the trade and got stopped out. Shouldn't profit set my stop below. So I'm guessing you took the trade over here. See, same problem. You took the trade when price is moving up. You need to take a trade once support is formed. So price made a high. You took a trade. You went in profits. You didn't put stops at break even. You didn't secure stops, and then price came down. And then this is where you should have entered after this candle, because price made a high, came down, created support. Probability dictates it should continue moving up. So some learning lesson over there. What's this one? GP CAD. Price broke below support. Waiting for a resistance retest. Waiting for candle close. TP at wick fill 25 pips. I think with this GP CAD 30-minute candle close, you could get yeah, man. Like with this 30-minute candle close, especially the 1 hour that is closing. Let's take a look here. Yeah, if the 1 hour closes below this area, there's a very high chance we might continue moving bearish further for this 4-hour wick fill. Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. GP CAD is super bearish. 100% we're coming down to the fill this wick. Like this is like a signal sent from heavens. This is like 26 pips away, but still. If this closes bearish, you can just expect the next one to continue down. Let's take a look at the 15-minute. Oh yeah, this could be a very nice move here. As long as price, respects the high of the 15-minute candle, kind of easy move coming down with like 1.72950 on GP CAD. Yeah, it could work out. Because this is the second 15-minute candle of this 30-minute candle, right? The previous 15-minute candle closed bearish, which is now increasing the chances of this current one to stay bearish, which will in turn close the 30-minute bearish, and then the next 30-minute candle should respect this high and then continue moving bearish. Right, kind of like till this area 1.72096. So yeah, it could be a very, very, very good move. Coming all the way down. All right, what's this chart here? This is GJ. Looking for buys if it breaks around 132,650. Okay. Looking for sells. Wait for candle confirmation. Daily support down over here. Yeah, this makes sense. This makes sense. I think for really, really nice buys or sells, I'd want to wait to see price come up, create like some sort of a resistance, and then continue moving down. That's what I would be looking at here. I'm probably going to wait.
Roger, you took a look at gold yet?
No. Yes. Yes. What about gold? What's going on? I think gold tapped into a support on the 1 hour and kind of rejected it.
I'm gonna look for sells of that right there, because it broke that area.
Right way, right here?
Come down a little bit more.
What's the price?
The price is 1,700.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's about right there.
Here's my chart from London. Oh, let's take a look at this here. So this is important level, Euro JPY 30-minute doji and retest. Yeah, it looks good. I think this is what we were looking at earlier as well on Euro JPY. Let's take a look how it's doing. Euro JPY is at... Oh, it came down. Coming down a little bit. Yeah, if the Euro JPY starts coming down, then it's starting to range, so it's going to get very tricky. 15-minute above the previous, but 30-minute have closed. How to better manage this trade? Nice. You know, I like it when people start sending charts. It's amazing. What's this? 30-minute. Yeah, it looks good. I think you can just secure your profits now. You think it will head down to 1.6974? Yeah, it could. But then again, you have AUD is closed right now, and the yen is closed right now. We're approaching some sort of support here on the 4 hour, which is also a very important support on the 1 hour. So that might cause some issues for price to continue down. So you'll have to be beware of that. Be aware. Plus also it's a Monday, you know, like my advice to everyone here on a Monday is to just take it slow, you know, don't over trade, don't over risk. If you lose a trade, that's totally fine. You have Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. You know, you have a lot of days to trade. So don't let Monday be your last day. What's this? GU. Looking for the DXY to, okay, entry will be hopefully a sell stop under below 15-minute candle. Clean traffic on the 1 hour. Oh, this looks nice. This looks nice to continue moving down. You know, but one important thing on GU is now it created a low. Either you want to see a minor resistance forming, or you want to see a break below down the support for price to continue moving down. That's something you'll have to really wait for, and I'm a big advocate of waiting for things to happen, so I'm going to wait for GG as well. Is the guest coming today? Yes. We're going to have the guest later on. What other pairs behave similar to GJ? It's not about that. Basically, it's about what pair you can consistently look at every day and then identify like certain movements every day. That's the thing. If I look at GPJPY, I look at GPJPY every day from 6:30 to like 9 a.m. Eastern, and I think I'm really good at predicting what GPJPY is going to do. Same thing, just like we have on here. He looks at gold a lot, so he's good at identifying moves on gold. So it's about you have to spend time on a pair you choose. Did you watch 6-9 on Friday? Yes. Yes. I'm a big fan. USD CAD 4 hour. Overall bearish bias, all going up with USD CAD going down, blah blah blah. You're waiting for price to respect this area. Yeah, that's good. I think you're waiting for price to create like a support over here, a resistance, and then continue down. So that's good. Ooh, this is another look at GJ. Interesting. I didn't take a look at it from this perspective here. Interesting. Couldn't catch the trade at London session. Anticipated a bearish movement at 15-minute low time frame. However, wasn't confident. Okay. High time frame bearish. Looking for resistance to be formed at 30 minutes. Yeah, I think you might have something here, Leroy. I think you might have something here. High time frame is bearish. Would it be better if I learned to wait for the candle to close and be more consistent in a pair before placing buy stop? I mean, time to paper trade it. I think what you're looking at over here is something that happened on Thursday, like right here, right now. Like once this candle starts breaking the low of the previous candle, there's a very high chance price will continue moving down. And at that point, I think you're placing your stops above the current candle. Especially if you look on the 30-minute here, if the next 30-minute candle breaks the low of this current 30-minute candle, then there's a very high chance it should continue moving bearish. It's happened on Thursday, right here, right here. The candle closed bullish. This candle broke the low. I took sells, placing stops up over here, and then start to continue moving down. So the same thing can happen here today.
Is that the same time? Sorry, is that the same time? It was, wasn't it?
A little bit. It was like 2 hours later. It was like.
Oh, was it? Okay, I thought it was similar. I remember them move in the morning for lunch.
Yeah.
Then it reacted back. Right.
Yeah, it was at like before NYC Open.
That's right.
So Leroy here has probably opened my eyes to a possible short.
A potential.
Yes, a potential short. It's good. It's good. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Just gonna wait. Because basically what I want to see is I want to see something like this happening. I want the next candle to come down, break the low of the previous candle. Once it breaks the low of this candle, wherever the high is going to be of this current candle, which is going to be breaking the low, I'm going to put a stop loss above it and expect price to continue down, probably one stop over here and then continue down till 131.850. Oh, someone sent 2 charts. I don't know what's going on here. 2 charts. Ooh, I think you need to look at how you could have done better at this trade. Oh, nice one. Yeah, I can't look at charts that has already happened because I need to focus on how I can execute right now. So, ooh, we've broken up high, resistance looking left, wait for price to retrace, pull back. Yeah, this is good. See, price is continuing up, so we need to wait for a support to be formed and then continue up to retest the high. So that's very good. Right here, I'm actively looking at shorts here on GPJPY. So we'll have to wait here a little bit. Because if we break the low here, stop is going to be like 10, 11 pips for a continued move down. So maybe below around 132, 180. Yeah, it just needs to come down a little bit more. All right, execute it. We're in it.
I hope you're right, because I'm still in mine. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it should be good.
I think, what did you say? A bigger target? Did you say 850, 950 or something?
850.
Potentially 850. Yeah, I was looking similar.
Yeah, so
It's got
850.
potential, mate. I think.
Yeah. Oh man, this candle closed with no wick at the bottom. Why? Come on.
It's pushing so hard. It's fine.
Man, I was
We'll
really hoping
see.
it'll... Yeah.
It's tough.
I was hoping there'll be a pullback. But I guess we're in it now.
If it's any bonus, the 5 minute had a wick.
Oh shit. Okay, it's going. Okay, mate.
Get some.
Oh well, that was quick. Around like 8, 9 pips at the moment. Around 10 pips. Nice. Securing 10 pips over here, putting stops at break even.
And the stream's done. Well done, mate. Good work.
Nice trade.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks to Leroy. Leroy came here with his chart and I was like, wow, Leroy, you opened my eyes to the next dimension.
And then gold sells at 1701.
And this is now starting to create the weekly lower wick too.
Yeah,
so just flip bearish too.
Yeah, the daily is heading bearish as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Yeah, we're approaching this area here as well, which is why I secured. Because from this area, we're not sure if it's going to bounce or what, but I guess it's going to continue heading down, I guess.
It'd be nice if it smashes that.
Beautiful, beautiful. And GP CAD also came down. So got a win over there as well. GP CAD respected the highs and just came perfect move down.
Today was an easy day.
Easy.
Mm-hmm.
Easy day.
Yeah, it's quite
Alright.
nice.
Out of my gold cells.
Look at gold. Ooh. I missed the call because I was doing schoolwork. Yeah, that's okay.
Just rewind the video.
Yeah, GP CAD was pretty nice. I got like 15, 16 pips on GP CAD, around secured 10 on GJ. Beautiful. See, one thing I'm really cautious about now is this wick here to the left. This is where the market opened on Sunday. This is what I'm cautious about right now. So that's why my stops are at break even, because you know the previous candle closed with no wick on the 30-minute and the 1 hour, so it could go back up, you know, so that's why I'm securing positions here. GJ sells, someone is looking at. Let's take a look here. What? Price stayed below, looking for. Yeah, it looks good. I think you should have sent this chart before, as, like, you know, as it was happening. Now it has happened. So this was a 3-minute trade. Literally, this was a 3-minute trade. Did I open GPCAD sell live? No, I gave out the idea. You know, stops above over here and then all the way down TP right over here. This was the idea given. This is not a signal stream, guys. This is where we give educated ideas. You know, it's up to you if you want to execute on that idea or not.
It's an analysis stream.
Yeah, GJ, but like, you know, I'm confident enough to just, I'm not gonna say it's gonna go up or down. I'm gonna say, hey, it's gonna go down, or I'm gonna say it's gonna go up. You know, so there's always gonna be one bias. So I executed live over here. I say, hey, I'm gonna open once it starts breaking the low, and it broke the low. It kind of felt like more than 10. It felt like what, 12, 13 pips. So I secured.
Either way, it's good Monday, dude.
Yeah. When it comes to risk management, trade management in this, what? Quick question. When it comes to risk management, trade management in this situation, I think you need to reread that question. Oh, yeah, I think you need to reread that question. What's this? Your USD. Break and retest, high time frame downtrend, looking for sells below. I think you're looking for sells further below an area. I think you're looking for sells below this area here. You know, the difference between what happened on GPJPY is that there was just one candle low that it had to break. But over here, there are a lot of lows it has to break. So it needs to break below this area here to continue moving down. I took trades Asian and won, right, at my usual lot size. So an NY would be my second trade for the day. Should I have kept my usual lot size? Yeah, I think if you're taking second trades, you should keep your. I think you should just manage risk if you're taking a second trade. You know, just manage risk. I would say just lower down your risk a little bit. You know, use like a lower lot size, like a lower risk. Because if you already won in a session, and now you're trying to take a second trade in another session, you really need to reduce the risk. The reason why is because if you take a losing trade in the new session, you don't want that trade to, like, you know, wipe out most of your profits from the previous session. So you have to be very cognizant of that. Mr. Yan sent a chart. Yan sent a chart. GPCAD sells. Oh, very nice. Beautiful sells. I think your stop is way too big, man. Your stop is too big, Big Mon. I think your stop should be above this area over here. So it's pretty big.
Did I just hear patois a while ago?
Ooh, it's moving nice.
Monty, you caught the GJs from London session also?
Yes, mate. I had. Hang on, let me just check. I'm holding one from 509 now. But we had one. We had a sell stop at just under 660 for about 15-20 pips this morning. And then I entered one kind of just as the stream was ending, which I'm still holding now, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's about 50 odd pips up at the minute. Well, just under 50.
Okay.
Pretty cool. Good start to Monday anyway. I was looking at lower time frame kind of 10, 15, 20 pip moves, but then I was also looking in the back of my mind at the weekly, creating a lower wick at the same time. So I kind of had that in the back of my mind as well.
Well, it looks like it's running nice right now.
Yeah, man.
How about GJ took out the low of the day, made a new low on the day.
Which I think we could potentially feel that weekly wick. Not like now, but that might be where we're aiming.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was looking at too, like based on the daily once it starts rejecting that support level.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. Well, it looks like I think this is where I will call it a take profit around like 18, 19 pips.
Leave a little one.
Leave a little one running.
Nah, do you think, man?
Yeah.
It's a good trade. It's a good trade.
But hey, if guys on YouTube, if you guys caught this trade down, I mean, give a like on the stream because, you know, it helps a lot of people. Helps a lot of people win. See what I can do here. I had a half a position running here right now. Probably gonna close that. When you say securing 10 pips, you close 90% of your 10 lots and put stop loss to break even. Yeah, I had two positions open at this point. I had two positions opened. One I secured at like 10, 11 pips, and the other one I closed 50%. And once it came down to around 132.022, I closed the entire position here. So it worked out pretty well. Now, if this momentum continues, I think we're going to continue moving down to, I think 131.900 would be a better idea. But looking on the daily here now, oh, this is a weekly. Looking on the daily, so this area on the daily, this was like a support from last week. And now I think if this daily closes bearish, man, I think there's a very, very high chance we're going to continue down to 130.800 to retest the lows. There's no doubt in my mind that's going to happen.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Because that's just the way you trade on the smaller time frame. You just move it over to the bigger time frame.
Yes. I'm having trouble understanding when I should get in more than one entry. How can I improve this? You can't. You can't improve this. I think that's improved by with practice. You know, because once you miss a move and you're like, oh, I could have entered another one, that's when you start seeing that, okay, where could I have entered another one? And when it happens the next time, then you're ready to enter another one. So we received these two charts over here. Ooh, look at this, GU 15 minute. Wow, this came down as well. Perfect. Candle closed bearish, entered when it was breaking the low. Beautiful. This is exactly what I would have done. GJ 11 p.m. entered in range because of fake out. Nice, you caught the whole move down here. Oh, it looks like the YouTube there, they heard my son crying. Yeah, I wasn't having a good morning. Would you suggest to open two positions at 1% or one position at 2% and why? It totally depends on you. You know, I think I used to open two positions because it was easier for me to close one. You know, I would open two positions, it would go in profits. I just close one and move one to like in the stops to break even. But if I have one position open, then now it's even more easier to close half because of magic keys, you know. Because at that time before, I didn't have magic keys. There was no such thing as like a script for MetaTrader 5, so it was a very tedious process to close half position on MetaTrader. Good morning. Is the guest coming today? Yeah, so far, I mean, so far it is. So we'll see what happens.
Said he'll be here at 7:30.
Okay. Oh yeah, I guess it's Santa. Santa's coming. Oh wow, it's snowing. No way. Damn. Snowing in May. Can you believe that, Monty?
New York had snow 2 days ago, I believe.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's snowing in May. All right, let's take a look at this chart here. Man, the day it snows in Miami, that's going to be the end of the world. Gold 30 minute. Target for gold. And also looks like GJ and gold are about to do the same thing. Support has been broken and now waiting for a price to retest and reject this level. Yep, makes sense, makes sense. I'm just really confused when it comes to securing profit and leaving how many percentage runner, how many pips to call it secure. Well, that's all up to you. You know, when you talk about how many positions I should close or where I should close or how much percentage I want to keep running, that's totally up to you. I know in my mind, if I have positions running and if I reach my target every day in a trade is like 10 to 12 pips. That's including spread. I mean, I don't count the spread, obviously, you know. So once I get to that level, I look to close 80%. 80% I close, 70% I close. That means I secure 70 to 80%. I secure that. That means that is closed. That's in my account. That's done. And then whatever that's left, I put stops at break even. You know, because most times what happens is that once it's secure, like, you know, once you're up like 10, 12, 15 pips, price comes back to your entry, you know, comes back to your entry, and now you're like, oh man, I should have just closed down there. I don't know what to do. So that's why I leave a runner running, you know, because the runner, you need a smaller position, a smaller risk position to do the dirty work. You know, that's the thing. So like a runner is like your servant. You know, you let your servants do all the dirty things, so you let the runner do the dirty things. If your spread is 12 pips, you're closing at 2 pips. You're closing at 12 pips up. Yeah, you know, like it's not like you're closing at 12 pips up. You're closing at 10 pip profit, 10 pip profit, 11 pip profit. You know, you're going to see that on your MetaTrader. Because on your MetaTrader, if you look on your computer, MetaTrader, you right click, it's going to show points. It's always going to show points way ahead of spread. Can this GJ buy happen? Oh, let's take a look here. Someone's looking for buys. And someone's looking for G2 sells. Interesting. Interesting. Ooh, stop loss here. 30-minute close waiting for bearish. Nice. This is a good entry. You took an entry when the 30-minute broke the low of the previous one, just like what we were talking about on GJ here. Beautiful. Okay, what's this? This is buys on GJ. Yeah, this makes sense because you know that's where the market opened. Market opened right over here, and now if there's a rejection here, if you see candles closing bullish, there's a very high chance you might see, you know, like a move up. So that very well could happen. You know, so for that to happen, you would want to see candles closing bullish, not only on the 15-minute time frame, but you'd want to see candles closing on the 30-minute time frame at least. You know, 30-minute, and then you have the 1 hour and so on. Oh, what's this? Wrong chart. How to deal with fake out setup? You can't deal with the fake out setup because a fake out is supposed to fake you out, right? Could you please break down GJ cells? Yes. SE Krana, if you sent your chart in the chat, I'll be able to see it. I can't see it in the question and answer thing. So the GJ cells were basically simple. You know, at first I was looking for price to, for price to like create support and then continue up, create like a minor resistance and then continue down. But then Leroy sent a chart, and his chart was basically, well, wait a minute, guys. We might be creating a resistance over here, and if this candle breaks the low of the previous candle, it could be a very nice idea to continue moving down. So that was his idea, and I was like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. So that's when I executed. Once that candle in a bearish momentum was breaking the low of the previous candle, that's where I entered. My stop was like 10 pips. It was above this candle here, and you can see it ran down to around 20 pips. So this was like a 1 to 2 risk reward with a runner. Played out very well. Very happy. It's always good to wake up on Monday and make money and have like a winning trade. USD CAD, clean up trend. Price broke through resistance, made a high, came down for retest. If price closes bullish above, we may continue to 1.42. Yeah, okay, this looks good. Looks good. Let's take a look here. USD CAD. Yeah, I think it looks good. See, now it has broken the 30-minute high, so it should continue moving bullish. So you had a nice idea. Over here, broke this resistance, made another minor support on the 15-minute around this area, and now continuing bullish. That's good. I think this will be a good place to maybe close my runner. Closed it. What's this? This is GPJPY 4 hour. You have a support. You're waiting for price to break below here, do like a retest, and then continue down. See, what I want to say about this GPJPY 4 hour is that it's reacting to this support here, right? And then after this, after the support gets broken, if there's still some momentum there, there's a very high chance we're going to continue down to the next support around 131, 750, 131, 800. So this is going to be your next target. But at the same time, once we start breaking down, there's going to be this. This is like a range, right? Because this is where price came up, made a resistance, made a support, and then continued up and broke above. This was the move on Friday, if you guys remember. This was the Friday move. And then this was like, so now once price starts coming down into this level, after it breaks below this level, starts coming back down into the range. Oh, we have our Jeevan. Jeevan is, I think, here. Oh, there he is. Promote him to panelist. All right.
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. How are
How's it
you?
going? I'm good. How are you guys?
Oh, fantastic.
Morning, dude.
Good
Morning.
morning. Good morning.
What's going on, Jeevan?
Not much, man.
One thing this one question has been in my mind for a long time. So for people who don't know who this guest is, this is Jeevan. His Instagram is, what's your Instagram? JEV.HAYRE, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Instagram. So like one thing that's I've been wondering, and people have been asking me this as well, like since it's about the data reports, like your employment change, right? Even though that it's been as expected, but it still has been pretty bad, like 20 million jobs, so why isn't it affecting gold to continue going up, even though like the economy is doing bad?
That's exactly what I'm going to talk about in more detail, but I'm going to be talking about market sentiment and the flow of smart money, right? So you have to understand, let's talk about that specific example about the jobs, right? We have to understand that a lot of the poor data in the markets has been priced in, and it's very expected. And the last NFP, technically, if you're looking at the numbers, was actually 2 million less than expected. It was actually an improvement, right? And I'm going to be talking about this when we talk about smart money and what it is. You have to understand smart money, and my definition of smart money are the banks, corporations, the real volumes and liquidity that moves the market, right? As a collective. These smart money loves it when equities are strong and risk currencies are strong, because it makes them more money and it keeps everything status quo as is. That's why it's such a struggle to really short sell global stock markets. Every time it's easier to buy US stock markets than it is to sell it, right? You saw this 100% take place in that manipulation around how NFP was absorbed, where it's extremely expected and priced in that data will be poor. And we have had this very dark economic climate around coronavirus. For the last few months, as lockdown has been going on, it's just been the status quo that everything is dog shit around the whole world. So when you have any signs of optimism or light in the markets, like you have this NFP, which is a bit improved, smart money and the guys that rally the equities, they jump on this optimism because it favors them. Okay, so now I'm going to be talking about, and to break that down further, so your chat and viewers understand it, is like what is market sentiment, what is smart money. So Rakeel, you know how you guys, when you come on, you have certain ways to identify the technical trend or technical bias, and there's really only three things, right? You can either have a bullish trending market, a neutral or consolidating market, or a bearish market. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Right? So fundamental market sentiment is the exact same thing as a technical bias or trend, except it's the fundamental bias or directional flow of smart money. Okay? And there's only really three categories that I divide this sentiment of smart money into. It's either fear, greed, or neutral markets. So it's very similar to like a bullish consolidating market or bearish market. But this, if you guys want to split it up, we're going to go through a little visualization together of how smart money views the flow of currencies and the flow of money. Okay. So now that you guys understand that it's either really market fear, market optimism, or just neutral markets that dictate or print these candles, and that's what smart money looks at. I want everybody who's in the audience to visualize the world from a bird's eye view, right? I want you guys to step back, look at like you're looking at the Earth from space, and you see every single country, the main countries with its respected currency. You see CAD and you see North America, you see USA and Canada, you see CAD and USD, right? Mexico is underneath, and Euro. You see GBP. You don't have to divide the individual currencies. You see Euro. On the right side, you see the Asian markets, AUD below that. Okay? This, for smart money, is your basket of currencies. This is your playground. This is how you should be viewing the market. And when you're understanding that it runs on optimism, fear, or greed, I'm going to help you better understand how this flow works. So now you guys know you're viewing the world from this bird's eye view. From the perspective of smart money, you're looking at it from how money is going to be flowing based on these different tensions or whatever is going on. Okay. So now we're going to divide up the currencies. It's only two things. You either have safe haven currencies or you have risk currencies. Your safe haven currencies are your Japanese yen, your Swiss franc, your US dollar when there's a lot of economic uncertainty. And for people who are confused about that, it's because the US dollar is the world's reserve currency and known as the world's business currency. Any international business is usually done in US dollars. Okay, so you have the US dollar, the Japanese yen, and the Swiss franc as your safe haven currencies. Your risk currencies are primarily your AUDs, your NZDs, your GBPs, and Euro. Euro can be 50-50, and I'm going to talk about that. So now, when there is mass fear in the markets, and I'm going to show you guys the technical proof of concept as well after, how you guys can back test this technically, right? No matter if it's coronavirus, no matter if it was the fear brought from trade war in 2019, no matter if it was when we almost went into World War III, when Iran stuff was starting out in 2020. It doesn't matter what the catalyst is that brings fear or optimism. The impact of it across the board and how smart money flows is exactly the same, okay? So whenever you have mass fear, the smart money that's looking at the world from the bird's eye view, they take their liquidity and order flow out of the risk currencies and put them into the safe haven currencies and into safe haven, right? How can we identify or confirm this? Go back and check when anybody who wants to do this technically in backtest, go back and check when the Iranian general was killed when we started off 2020, right? It wasn't just, when that event happened, it didn't just impact one trading instrument. It impacted the market across the board because smart money changed the flow of their liquidity to better protect themselves and continue making money on their investments as the rest of the world gets fucked. Okay? So
yeah,
what
makes
happens
sense.
right? So what happens when you're looking at the world from a bird's eye view and you have mass fear come in is you have the safe haven currencies heavily inflate. The US dollar gets strong across the board. Japanese yen gets strong across the board. Swiss franc gets strong across the board. And all risk currencies against it, for example, EJ, AJ, GJ, they'll all fall collectively. EU, right? Euro against the US dollar, which is a safe haven. GBP against the US dollar, which is a safe haven. They'll all also fall collectively. Okay? So when you notice that that's how smart money is working and you visualize it, you can literally see that when tensions are heating up across the market, you see it collectively impact that what I'm telling you guys, okay? The exact opposite happens when there's mass optimism. And this isn't just impacting those currencies I'm telling you. So when there's mass fear, right, you see gold heavily inflate because physical gold and gold spot is a safe haven. You see equities and stock markets take a massive hit because investors globally and smart money are losing their faith in these economies because they're heavily struggling. You see Japanese yen, Swiss franc, and US dollar inflate. That is the correlated collective impact when there's mass fear, right? And that's from a macro perspective when you have something that's heavily impacting the entire world. This can go down to micro changes. For example, you can have a higher time frame bearish trend where your weekly, your monthly, and daily on GJ is extremely bearish. But you can take advantage of micro intraday bullish plays as a scalper or as a trader as you're playing that daily volatility. Market sentiment works this way as well. The market sentiment and environment for the last few months has been extremely, extremely dark and fear-filled. Everybody's losing jobs around the world, right? Businesses are shutting down. People are struggling. There's global lockdowns. It's just bringing mass fear. But because it's been going on for so long, that has become the new norm. So when you were talking about why did this 20 million jobs data not inflate gold? Why did it not drop the U.S. stock market? Because this market environment we are in, the market sentiment has become the new norm, right? So when you have any signs of improvement, any signs of optimism, the market jumps on that because that optimism supports smart money. It supports the stock market. It supports corporations around the world. It supports banks. Us as traders, we are able to take advantage of both sides, right? But in reality, smart money wants stock market strong. They want risk currency strong because it keeps them rich. Okay.
So
Yeah.
so basically, so all this fear by like coronavirus and like these like this fear of about like markets crashing, it's just, yeah, you're right, like it's so just like normal now.
It's normal because we've been hearing about it for so long now. We've been hearing about it for months. It's been building for months. A lot of that fear has been priced in. And you have to understand that investors in smart money, due to human greed, they're always trying to be a couple steps ahead. Meaning, let's just say, for example, there's news released about coronavirus vaccine, right? If there's news released about a coronavirus vaccine, that would bring massive optimism to the markets, and we would see yen lose relief, like yen pairs would rocket, right? US dollar would lose strength, stock markets would go crazy, and it would be all over the news that the great news, we have a vaccine, right? The impact from that vaccine would already start being priced in, even though economies haven't actually opened up and nothing's actually improved yet, right? So they'll already be jumping in and pricing this event in ahead of time. That just the fact that there is a potential vaccine to be produced, that the markets will rebound and economies will go back to normal. Investors start to price these events in ahead of time.
Yeah, no, that's so like in the market, that would be some major news that, okay, hey, we have the vaccine, now things are gonna get positive now. Instead of having like, small news events going a little positive, negative, with
Exactly.
with like the large numbers.
Exactly.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And investors in smart money, they're not going to wait for the economy to actually rebound. For them to see that a coronavirus vaccine is developed, that's enough for them to say, okay, the issue's solved. They're not going to wait to say, oh wait, the vaccine is here and the data's improving, because then everybody can jump in the move. Smart money's already done, and they're pricing these events in or trying to get in ahead of time on that, right? So so this can also, and now, when you have fundamental indecision, when you have fear and optimism clashing, you have, like, for example, the market's still very fear-filled, but we're getting little signs of optimism here and there that economies are opening up. This is what prints technical consolidation or technical indecision on the chart, right? So it works hand in hand. So now that when you understand that the market from smart money perspective and a macro perspective is heavily impacted by fear or greed and how this smart money flows across the board, you can use this along with some of your technical market structure, your technical bias and trend to increase your confidence in your execution, right? So let's just say, for example, you're looking at GJ sells here and GJ is at a resistance. It's overall bearish market structure, right? It's overall very bearish in market structure. We're seeing overnight that global stock markets are taking a hit. They're a little bit weaker than they were, right? You have these confirms on top of your technicals that okay, the stock markets are taking a hit. There's still a lot of fear-filled headlines. U.S. dollar and these other safe havens like gold are also looking strong. I have these fundamental confirms on top of technical confirms that I can stick to my bias further, right? And it just brings you that more confidence because you have that understanding of what's actually going on in the market across the board, not just the one pair you're looking at. So with that being said, I'm not telling people to go look at hundreds of pairs, but when you have massive volatility in the markets, there's certain tools you can use to view fear or greed. For example, it was very easy to tell that optimism was getting faded overnight when last week the global stock markets were in the greens and positive, and then overnight London completely canceled that out. They went negative, yen started gaining strength, and we had some of these bearish technical confirms, right?
Yeah.
So it's just about this stuff like working hand in hand. Just one second, I got a call. But yeah, just well, give me 1 sec. Sorry.
Okay. China going into second wave. Yeah, China's going second wave. I think the second wave is going to hit over here too. I think we're going into another 2 month, two more months lockdown.
Oh, I didn't hear anything about the second wave.
Yeah, so apparently China is getting the second wave, but like looks like GJ is going to continue bearish here. It's going to fill this wick it made previously.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so what I was talking about is now that you guys understand what fundamental market sentiment is, how to view that movement of smart money from a macro level, that bird's eye view. You might be wondering, how can I use this day to day? How can I use this to scalp, swing, or intraday play, right? If you understand that, for example, like GJ, let's just say that right now there's a scenario and GJ holds the support you have identified here and technically creates a support. Then we have Trump come in at New York Stock Exchange talking about opening the economies or bringing some optimism, and at the same time, U.S. equities and futures start to push up, right? This optimism hand in hand, along with looking at some other pairs and seeing that other safe havens are deflating, can just increase your confidence that smart money might be showing a bit more optimism for this day or still continuing the fear, right? There's different technical and fundamental cues and tools you can use to help along with your technical road mapping and bias, right?
Yeah, makes sense. We have this question. I'm not sure if you can see the questions or not, but it's how do you think gold and silver will be affected if we do get a vaccine for the virus? Will the Fed keep on printing money? Will it be enough money to print?
So basically, if you have to understand that gold is the only reason the only reason gold is so high is due to the demand of physical gold being up because of mass fear. Gold is a safe haven, right? So pretty much if we have a vaccine created and that in turn leads to economies opening back up, that in turn leads to economic data rebounding, people going back to work, consumer consumption, and everything going back to normal that leads to a healthy economy, there wouldn't be much reason for investors in smart money to keep their money in gold or keep buying gold, right? So most likely, if there was a coronavirus vaccine and that mass optimism brought, investors in smart money would liquidate their gold longs and put that back into the stock market or put it back into risk currencies where they can make more money. There wouldn't be no value to continue buying gold, right? You wouldn't make as much on your money. Gold is more primarily used in that safe haven perspective with its physical value to keep your money safe, right?
Makes sense. So even if the vaccine is there, the Fed's gonna keep money in the dollar because
the Fed is gonna keep printing to stimulate the economy, but I personally think that something like a vaccine being confirmed and that it's going to be released and economies opening back up hand in hand would be enough for investors to just start rallying global stock markets. gold would drop, safe havens would get relief, and we'd see these risk currencies rally against the safe haven currencies across the board. Right? Like all your AUD, USD, GU, EU, it doesn't matter. They would all be rallying in that flow of smart money across the board.
Man, I really hope we catch that wave.
Right? That's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to say as well. Is like, because neutral markets and stuff like that is whatever. It can be safer, but when you have mass fear or mass optimism, it just creates beautiful technical trends in turn. And then all you really have to do is like, if there's mass fear and there's a second wave of coronavirus, and we don't get economies opening back up and lockdowns continue, it's just going to lead into more money being lost for economies being on standstill. All you have to do for every yen pair is look for a pullback and sell. Look for it to technically pull back to a lower high, to your area of interest or resistance, and sell it along with smart money and that overall macro trend. And then it's the inverse if it's optimism, right? If it's optimism, you'd be buying GJ up. Every support pullback, every pullback to a support, you buy GJ with the market being optimistic. And that's the same across the board. EJ would go up, UJ would go up.
So I'm basically not the brightest flower out of the bush here, but from what I understand is basically that the mass fear is kind of like consolidating right now, and mass optimism is going to be when there's like a for sure news about, oh, we have a vaccine.
Yeah, right now there's a confliction where smart money really wants economies to open back up. They really want the stock market to be rallying. They're really doing whatever they can to bring optimism, but nothing has actually changed at the core. Like everybody's still on lockdown, and the global economies are still trash, you know? So you're getting those mixed markets, and it's still fairly early in the week too. So
yeah, nice. That was a lot of information here. I think I'll have to rewatch this part.
Yeah, so that's a good thing. People can always rewatch this stuff too, right? It's a lot to, like, I know it might seem, for some it might be very simple, for some it might be extremely confusing, but if you actually go and backtest it, and this is too much to talk about on the live. What I'm talking about, go back on your own charts. Go look at all JPY pairs during mass fear. Go look at it when there was mass fear during the trade war, during the 2008 financial collapse, when the Iran stuff was going on, right? When oil went negative, go look at how it impacted these pairs across the board. And then go do the same thing for gold, right? That's how I became a bit more fundamentally sound, is I would backtest and look at what caused these technical impulsive plays across the board, and why did it happen across the board at the same time? Why did EU, AU, and GU all tank? That means there's some major liquidity being moved behind the scenes in a collective fashion. That really interested me to start diving into this stuff, right? So all you have to do is go check a date of when the Iranian general was killed, find that date, go to your technical chart, put that time in, and it'll take you straight to when the Iranian general was killed. You can see the impact it had on gold. You can see the impact it had on Japanese JPY pairs, Swiss franc pairs, everything. And then you understand that. You say, okay, when there was mass fear, when there was physical war conflict, this was the impact on the market. When there was a biological war conflict, this was the impact. When there was political trade wars, Brexit, this was the impact, right? There's always a catalyst for fear or greed. And then when there isn't that fear or greed, you have these neutral ranging markets where price is generating liquidity and people are waiting for that technical breakout, right?
Yeah, I think when it comes to fundamentals, it's so someone asked the question where you got all your information is. So before you answer, I want to say this is that, like, there's no a for sure way to know all the fundamentals. Like, you need to be involved in that fundamental arena and to know every day what's happening and how is this affecting the technicals and you know, like on the charts. I'm sure I'm right in that aspect.
Yeah, like we will never know what's actually happening behind the scenes. Right? No, we will never know that. If we did, we would be rich. But like you, right? But like you said, when you're watching day-to-day volatility, you're watching these trends along with these geopolitical tensions. Over time, you start to pick up you start to pick up and adapt that every time there's this mass fear, this happens. Every time there's this mass optimism, this happens. So you do this so many times that you notice all everything is just history repeating itself and the same story with different characters, right? Everything that happened at the 2008 financial collapse, of how it impacted yen pairs, of how it impacted gold, of how it impacted equities, is exactly what's happening technically and fundamentally now, except now it's a biological pandemic with coronavirus. It's not a financial collapse because of what happened in 2008. You know what I mean? So there's always something, and it's always going to have the same impact. It's just going to be a different story or some different characters, right? So if you can line these events up along with technical reversal points or technical continuation points or higher time frame key areas of interest, you will become better and better at forecasting events to come, or saying, you know what, this data, like global data, like for example, let's talk about data reports, right? Remember how a year ago from now, even 6 months ago from now, before all the negativity around coronavirus, stuff like retail sales, consumer inflation, NFP, it had a big impact on the pairs we were trading. If you were trading gold, NFP or the jobs data had a major impact because market conditions at that time had less volatility and they weren't being run by these geopolitical tensions. It was actually focusing on what is the health of that country, right? When markets are neutral, investors are looking at, okay, what is the health of this country? How is this country's spending habits? How is their debt? How is their manufacturing? How is their retail sales? That's what's telling you the strength or weakness of a country in normal market conditions, right? So
Nice.
So now we're having, like I was talking about, last night we had stock markets fall off their greens during London, right? And at the same time, we had GJ reject a technical resistance. We still have some fear in the markets, and so far New York hasn't opened yet, but we've had some bearish momentum so far. If Trump can bring some optimism at New York, we can see this technical shift, right? We can see price use 132 as a support and shift, but we don't have those confirms yet of optimism, and we don't have the technical confirms yet for buys yet either, right? So that's what we were taking advantage of in Capital Hungry last night, was adapting to some of the optimism fading, and we were looking at some of those things, like looking at global stocks, looking at other yen pairs, right? Looking at other safe havens, and then you can see, okay, this is the current sentiment, and let's line that up with the technicals, you know? I'm just gonna go to the washroom quickly, but if anybody has any questions, I can answer them after. But if that wasn't helpful to anybody, then I apologize.
No, I think that was a lot of information, but just like anything, if people just rewatch what they heard, I think it'll be like they'll understand much better.
Yeah, super interesting, mate.
Yeah, if people rewatch this and actually go back and back test those fundamental events and look at the technical impact it had, it will teach you a lot about how smart money moves and how the market moves as a collective. But I'll be back. I started going to the washroom.
All right. Yeah, that was some really good information here, and it's all about how you apply it, right? Like some people are more inclined towards fundamentals, some people aren't. So it's all about how you take information and apply it. Looks like GJ has been continuing bearish over here. I've been mapping this out. This 30-minute wick fill coming down, candle had no wick to the top. This is where when a candle closes bullish like this, you don't want to take buys. I've learned that over time, seeing this candle as like a booby trap candle essentially. Yeah, so that was Jeevan. He has some really good information. He studied a lot. That's the thing. He's really dived into fundamentals because he wanted to know like why things were happening based on what was causing certain moves, why were different events moving price a certain way. Like actually why. It's like what I do every day. I come to the charts, I look at the candles, I'm like, okay, why? Why are we rejecting? Why did this candle close bullish and why did this didn't go up? Maybe it was the wick was too small, maybe there was no range. So whenever you're looking at charts or whenever you're looking at any sort of information, you're always asking why. Why are certain things happening? And then you're taking that information and then you're using that information into the next day, you know, be it news events, be it, you know, technical analysis, be it like any reports and whatnot. You're always asking why certain things happen and how can you use it the next time it happens. You know, because like the first time you're gonna miss it, 100%, 100% you're gonna miss it. I used to take bias after candles like this close all the time, and I would get stopped out all the time. And then I said to myself, okay, you know what? When a candle closes like this, I'm probably gonna be a little cautious. And then I started getting sells because our buys, you know, if it was the opposite scenario. But yeah, it all comes down from experience. And you see it's closing bearish. Next candle should continue moving bearish. How come you don't use the volume chart? Because the volume does not tell me when to take trades. Candles tell me when to execute trades. So first sell was right over here around 132, 190, came down, took profits, and then I guess it's going to continue moving later on. Can you give a critique on this intraday idea? Well, if you post it, we're going to look at it. Just a question. It's crazy you call the pin bar a booby trap. So many people entered buys there, so you sell into those type of setups. Yeah, I'm kind of cautious about it too. Like I was really looking at the 15-minute closing because the 15-minute here, it closed below the low here, so that gave me an opportunity that okay, maybe now we're going to come down to fill the daily wick, the 30-minute candle wick, and now you know this is continuing moving down, and I guess with the NY open here soon in 4 minutes or even before that, we're going to see a continuation down. You know, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see a continuation further down. Raja Loki took second entries. Yes, I reduced my lot size, and while June was talking, I took some more entries. When you use magic keys to close 50%, to close all your positions. Yes. What's this? So some people were in USD CAD buys, and those USD CAD buys played out very well for you guys. Take a look at this chart here. Yeah, I think, oh yeah, it was right here, USD CAD buys. Nice. So this is waiting for break and retest of 1.24. Oh, way up over there. Weekly, tweezer tops, daily price range, 4-hour. Nice. So you're waiting for price to come up there. Now you need to figure out how could you have caught these sells. That's what you need to figure out. How could you have caught these sells? Since we are coming back to 132 support, would looking for bullish opportunities and waiting for a bullish confirmation be a good idea since the trend is bullish? The trend, I think it's bearish because we came down, broke the support on the daily, you know, right over here. We broke the support. This candle came up. This is kind of like doing a retest. If this closes bearish, then there's a high chance we're going to continue moving down. Currently, we are moving bearish. So I would say, so if you're looking to take buys, I would say, yeah, you'd be waiting for a candle closing bullish, at least on the 1 hour or the 30-minute, because the momentum going bearish is way too strong right now. It's just way too strong. You have to be careful.
Part of the drop on US 30.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, me too.
Because it's usually the last half hour before the New York session, we get like a massive push depending on how the pre-market data is, and it drove right into that zone.
Nice. What was this?
Is that something you'd expect a heavy pullback on?
This is the problem. Yeah, there might be a pullback on the open. That's why I closed.
Okay.
Do you consider the 5 minutes on Dow Jones tech when you start mapping out your charts?
It's hard. 5-minute candles to me are ridiculous because they can pull back like 40, 50 points. I'm watching more so the 15-minute and 30-minute candles. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the initial retracement back, and then I'm looking to catch it as it starts to break down. 5-minute candles are very difficult to trade US 30. I mean, it's possible, but it's not fun. I mean, I've been watching it. I've been really playing the higher time frames, like the 30-minute and even the hour, and waiting for the pullback. But I'm also understanding that it moves very, very quickly to particular price zones.
Because basically the way I took my sales or buys on Dow Jones is based on the 5 minute. Roger, if you can go to the 5 minutes, so I can show you really quick what is. So basically, okay. So we have this low created right here. So when you go to the 5 minute chart, you start seeing the McDonald arc that we used to see on the 50 minute. So basically, once this candle start poking this area right here, more than likely it's gonna get broken. So I got this move. So by that time, I close 20, 50, whatever I can get, and I wait for another same setup and take my entries once start breaking this low and continue going. So now more than likely we're gonna have, I was expecting 24,200 today, but it's still continuing moving bearish.
Yeah. The only thing that concerns me all the time are these massive pullbacks, because those wipe you out very fast. That's where I like to try and take positions over here below this area on the higher time frame, because this area here are the wicks for like the 15-minute or 30-minute, and then you get that push down and you don't get a drawdown at that point.
Makes sense.
Let's take a look at this chart here. Oh, this is the wrong chart. Oh, wrong chart. Grant sent a wrong chart. Well, I had a pretty good day here today. Got a GJ sells. Some of you guys caught US 30 sells. Some
Hey,
people
what's
caught.
going on, guys?
Hey, welcome back.
Where do you see the global stock markets going from here? When I was talking about smart money, you guys gotta understand, it's very hard to sell the stock market on the higher time frames. Like it took that mass pandemic after 10 years. Like even the last 10 years, we've had a bunch of wars, we've had a bunch of political tensions, we've had so much shit going on where Dow Jones was forever bullish. If you go on the daily, besides what happened, go to Dow Jones daily for a second.
Dow, there we go. Dow.
Yeah. Besides, what the hell is this feed you're using?
One second, let me try another feed over here.
Type in US 30.
US 30.
Oh yeah, US 30.
So besides the crash we had from coronavirus, if you zoom out, Dow was forever bullish.
Yeah.
Right? Like for the last, look at that. Like besides what happened in 2008 and 2010, besides this pandemic and what happened here, Dow has been bullish for like 20, 30 years because it supports smart money and it supports those global corporations and stuff. But basically, if we have these global lockdowns continue and we don't have anything change, on the actual macro perspective, I think we're going back to visit these 18K lows, and all these buyers here are going to get trapped. Like this is looking like the buys have been very corrective. If you look at the drop, we fell from 30K to let's say 18, right? And we've done almost a 50% technical correction of that move, right? We did that huge drop, and we almost did a 50% correction of it. And you can see the corrective candles here, the bullish candles on the daily and the higher time frames are starting to lose their juice, right? So if we can break that intraday structure, can I annotate?
Yeah.
See, this is the actual downside move. This is the 50% correction, and we had some very strong impulsive candles as the Feds were injecting the economy. People were buying the stock market at the low, but this is starting to get exhausted. It's just starting to show technical exhaustion. If we can break like this area here on intraday perspective, plus we still have mass market fear, job loss is still at record highs, and economies aren't opening back up. I don't see any reason why stock market should be bullish. You know what I mean? Like even right now, stock markets really shouldn't be this fucking bullish, but it just supports smart money, and you're going against the grain in banking and corporations when you're trying to short stocks.
So what's smart money? Can we see that? Like, is it like the big institutions, banks?
We don't see their order. We don't see their orders. You just know it's smart money when you see major moves happen as a collective across the board, right?
Okay,
like you know how I was talking about when you have mass fear, all yen pairs drop. The Dow Jones drops, gold inflates. Why does this all happen at the same time? Who the fuck's pushing these buttons? To me, that's smart money, right?
So it's like smart money. We cannot for sure say, but we can kind of like estimate or like
it's not. I don't have,
anticipate.
Yeah, I don't have any hard evidence that is this bank's order flow, but we do have hard evidence that technically when there's these mass catalysts that across the board you're having collective moves at the exact same few minutes, right? Whenever you have mass fear or a negative headline that really brings a lot of negative volatility, all yen pairs drop. The U.S. stock market takes a hit. Gold inflates, and it's so interesting to me that it happens at the same time. You know what I mean? That's what's really interesting to me. You have these impulsive moves that happen at the exact same time, right? So like, who's pushing those buttons, right? Just like when gold went to -40 and it went from -40 to +20. Some rich mother actually I'm sorry, I want to swear. Some guys grabbed that contract at -40. Right?
Yeah.
The only reason it went from -40 to +25 is somebody finally picked up that contract and that order flow. And if you think about it, they got to cash out from -40 to +25. They made a $60 move on oil barrel. They went
Billions.
from negative to positive. It wasn't like oil went up $20. Oil went from -40 to +25. That's a $60 move on your barrel.
$60 move.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's what I tell people too. Like, I think this is all planned for someone to just buy the shit out of oil back down at negatives.
Back down negatives, because think about how many people were thinking oil can't go negative and how much liquidity got swept from the markets when you had mass and I'm not talking just retailers. There's many funds like this huge Singapore trading companies around the world that went bankrupt that kept trying to buy oil. And I'm talking about from funds to I had random high school friends and family members saying, "Hey, how can I buy oil when oil didn't go negative yet? It was just at $1, $2, $3, $4. Everybody is wondering, how do I buy oil, right?"
Yeah, so that was like a final stab,
Exactly.
like that negative move.
Yeah, when everyone that doesn't invest starts to invest, that's when you know to stay away from the market.
Exactly, Kev. When you had random people, family members saying, "Oh, oil's at these lows. How can I get in?" You know something's not right. Everybody's about to get fucked. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what happened. Oil people kept trying to buy oil at $1, $2, $3, and you got margined right out. Whether if you had big money or small money into it, it went -40. Nobody's surviving that. No buys, right? How you surviving that?
Yeah. No one's surviving that.
Yeah,
that's true.
And when you have oil, this is another great thing. When you have oil at historical lows and oil below $20 a barrel, most companies around the world that produce oil cannot sustain production. For example, it costs Canada, the US, the UK, most of these countries, it costs them $20 to $25 to $30 to produce 1 barrel of oil. When you have oil below that price on like the oil spot and the crude oil level below that price, none of these companies around the world are turning a profit. If they continue to not turn a profit, all they will do is eventually shut down and go bankrupt. Because the same time oil is this low, we have massive oversupply and overstorage, and we have a massive decrease in demand. You have a global lockdown where you have thousands of factories, industry, manufacturing shut down, billions of cars off the road, right? From a micro perspective to a macro, there's no consumption of oil right now. So when when OPEC did production cuts and they tried to help the oil market, it really made no impact, and it was 1 year too late. Because a lot of people don't realize, even once the economies go back to normal, even once we go back to an economy's rebound and oil consumption increases, it's still not going to help. It's still not going to help the oil market, because we have over 200 million barrels of over storage that's just sitting on ports, sitting in storage, sitting in tankers, that has to be consumed before you go out and buy new oil from anybody.
Yes.
Right? Like you have to go, even when economy, like you have to go through all that first. So.
Yeah, no, you're right. So this way, I think it's going to take a long time until we get things back to normal.
Yeah, like these guys are trying to bring anything they can to bring some light. Like Trump, you know what I mean? They'll say anything about a treatment or we'll open economies back up. But if you notice the pattern, they've been talking about stopping the lockdown for like every single week now. Right? Every single week they're saying, oh, we're gonna end the lockdown, we're gonna do this, and then they go back on their word, right? So.
Yeah.
Even who pressed the button right now on oil? Why is pumping? Do you have any technical, any fundamentals?
Sorry, on oil right now? I didn't see oil. Let me check the news feed for you, bro.
Oh wow, it's pumping.
About $2 per barrel.
What's pumping the button is that they say the country is slowly opening back up. So now you have more
Saudi announcement. Okay, Saudi energy minister official King says kingdom aims to provide additional voluntary cuts. So Saudi energy minister is gonna cut more oil. This was
they're reducing production.
Yeah, they're reducing. They're gonna reduce production, so they're trying to limit the supply. Right? Now we are noticing something across the board. Did you guys just notice that this headline? Right? I'm gonna send it to you guys, and Rakeel, put it on the screen. Okay?
Yeah, we see it.
Where do you see it?
Right here.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the screen. Okay, this also positively impacted GJ. You see how yen? Go look at yen pairs right now. From this is optimistic news and headline. That's why GJ is pushing up right now off that support level, even though it doesn't have a bottom wick, and that's why gold is starting to deflate at that same time. At the same time, and that's exactly what I'm talking about on a macro sentiment. The same time, we had the Saudi energy minister just released this news that brings positivity to the oil market and supports oil bulls. You saw gold do a bit of a reversal, and you saw GJ just turn bullish right now, start to almost break above support, and yen get relief. So you saw safe havens get relief, oil get boosted, and you just saw this happen as a collective, just because of that headline, just because of that optimistic headline. So what a perfect example of what we were talking about and proof of concept, you know. And this can also give the US dollar relief now too. I bet USD CAD just did a bit of a pullback. Go look at UCAD because oil just got strengthened, right?
Yeah, I think USD CAD also.
USD CAD probably just fell.
It fell down, yeah, due to that news.
And do you see how everything just happened collectively across the board?
Yeah,
look, yen from this Saudi Arabia optimistic headline, you just had oil get boosted, which is the first direct impact. You had USD CAD take a hit, USD pairs get relief, you got yen pairs get relief across the board. That to me is a smart money move based on that hype headline. And we just saw it go across the board.
Yeah, it's just interesting. Also, you can notice oil was just consolidating. It was just kind of waiting
for a breakout,
waiting for something.
So we're getting that optimism.
So
Right?
that's
So yeah.
that's something you would say it'll be like a short-lived optimism.
Yeah, it can be short-lived. But it does bring micro optimism. It does bring short-term optimism. It can also help rally equities at New York Stock Exchange Open. You're probably going to see Dow Jones maybe turn bullish after its pullback. So that's like when I was talking about that market optimism, and I was talking about the impact it has and how it impacts. Exactly, proof of concept. Somebody just said we just saw it live. Saudi oil minister, who has major impact on oil prices, just talked about production cuts. That brings market optimism. It brings investors faith that oil will start getting boosted. Economies are getting healthier. Whatever it is, that's how they start pricing that in. You see yen pairs and safe havens across the board get relief. U.S. dollar lose a bit of its strength, and then you just saw an impact across the board. So and this is how you learn about these impacts, right? And this is how you learn about, okay, is this going to have a short-term impact or a long-term impact? Is this really changing anything about oil consumption? Not really. So it could get waved off, right? But it's cool to see. We just saw a proof of concept live.
Yeah, also like, the most interesting thing is like even this news came out. It came like from a technical perspective looking at USD CAD. It came out right when USD CAD was at like a higher time frame rejection area. That's something that has always interested me as well.
It always the technicals and fundamental. I don't know why people fight between technicals and fundamentals. You should have these weapons in your arsenal and use them together to increase your bias and increase your confidence, right? Because they work hand in hand.
Yeah.
And all this really did is, if this gets waved off, is just grab liquidity, and this could just go get waved off and continue up, right?
Yeah, someone asked, so is there a way we can learn to trade news? I think it's more about watching it happen for, a couple of months before you start to get comfortable at it.
Yeah, it is that. You have to back test other events, get used to understanding how impulsive moves usually are, and then you put these pieces of the puzzle together. You put it along with your tech, because like look at where GJ bounced from, was a bit of a minor support there, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
Where you marked off there. Like it's reacting to that technical buy price point, that buy block, and then you have that price inflate off there at the same time you have that impulsive news.
Yeah, no, it's good. I think a lot of people, like, while you were in the washroom, they were saying, "Oh, this is actually very good information, this and that."
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. Like, some people will say, "Okay, you know what? It's not useful," but then there are others who will find things very, very useful. So,
yeah, and it's not going to be useful for anybody. Trading's all about learning what you can from other people and then finding what works for you and sticking to that, right? So if what I'm saying provides you more confidence along with your technical road mapping, right? And it provides you more confidence, then that's just better for you. But if it doesn't, then just don't use it, right? Just stay away from it.
Yeah, exactly.
This is why we stay in school, kids.
Yeah, yeah.
Because all these questions people are asking, they also come in all your economics classes and all your finance classes.
Why don't I see this news in Forex Factory? Because this was a surprise announcement. So you'll see it in news. It's right here.
Yeah, there's a difference between like economic data reports that are expected and have a release time, and then you have these reactive headlines that bring volatility, optimism, or fear.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty simple day today.
Yeah, you guys caught some really nice sells. It was clean.
Yeah, I caught GJ cells, played out really well. Pretty happy with that. So you think news hits Twitter first? News hits we don't know where news hits first.
News hits the terminals first, like these people, because you have to
Bloomberg?
understand, even out of Bloomberg, Reuters, whatever company it is, even besides trading, data is extremely valuable. Like information is people pay a lot of money for data and information and to get that data faster, right? So that's why these Bloomberg terminals, these Reuters icon, that's why it costs $20,000 for a subscription, because these whales and these guys that pay for that, they're getting these news headlines before the Twitter feed, right? Before mainstream media. And they're paying for that data for that reason. Like, for example, like when I was looking at the Reuters icon, and compared to Forex Factory, the Reuters icon actually had it like five minutes earlier. But like you have to pay, like people pay for those different subscriptions and stuff like that.
Oh, really? Like 5-10 minutes earlier?
Yeah, it comes out earlier, and then that's where all these Twitter sources and these Forex websites and stuff. That's they usually have a terminal, and then they just plug it into their Twitter feed and post it after.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. Yeah, Jeevan worked pretty hard for a whole year, and then yeah, what's this? How much you pay for Thomson Econ terminal?
Oh, somebody. Oh, I think it costs like that one costs like $1,200 or something a month, but I was just testing it with a buddy.
That's not bad.
The Bloomberg terminal is the expensive one. That one's like people. You know what I mean? These guys pay a lot of money for the data.
Thomson Econ terminal. Let me sign up to their affiliate here in case someone buys it. Hey, use my link, guys. Yeah, Monday's guest was way better than the guest we had for astrology 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I should have came on.
It was a big difference.
What did she talk about anyways?
Even Friday's guest was way better.
Yeah, it was I don't want to say anything bad, but it was just like, I mean, it was a mumbo jumbo, you know, about planets and
The problem
astrology.
was she didn't start with the basics. Like she didn't provide a foundation. What she did is just start talking. And to introduce new concepts, you have to provide a foundation. So it shouldn't have been about finance. It should have been about, hey, this is how astrology works.
Mm-hmm.
That should have been the first thing. I mean, it's common sense. When you're teaching somebody, you have to teach them as if they're 5 years old, and she didn't do that, so everyone got lost.
Yeah, it's like what you did. You came on, you're like, okay, let's start from the ground up. Let's just visualize. Let's look at the countries, and then you started going deeper and deeper. So I think that was actually pretty good.
Yeah, people have something to compare to, you know.
Yeah, because if you came out the bat saying, okay, so basically the global center, everyone would be like, wait, what?
Trust me.
Yeah.
And it was actually perfect timing to get like a headline like that Saudi Arabia thing and see how it just impacted across the board. That was perfect too. Perfect lesson, to be honest. But guys, I'm gonna head off. Thank you for having me. I didn't sleep yet. Ted guys, Rakeel guys, Monty, I'll see you guys later. Play some Warzone. And everybody, I hope you guys have a good day and stuff.
All right, man.
Take care, all right?
Yeah.
Take
Thank you
care.
so much for your time.
Yeah, take care, guys.
What's the best platform to trading except MetaTrader? Well, I don't know anything except I've used CTrader. You can use that, but it's all up to you. I've used MetaTrader, so I vouch for MetaTrader. What time is it? 8:20. Yeah, I think this move down was a fake out now, because now it's closing back above, you know, this support area 132, 100 was also respected, like, you know, when the market opened. So price came down, came back up, starts closing above. You have a bullish candle forming. There's a high chance we might continue up to retest 132,400. Why don't you check my chart? Because we had a guest talking, so now I'm going to check the charts. Man, people are so demanding. Why don't you check my chart? Waiting for this candle to close bearish for a short trade. Yeah, it looks good. USD CAD, 30 minute, looks good. Waiting for it to close bearish to take a short trade. All right, what's this? Secured 1.25% profit. Test run. The runner stopped at break even. Nice, very good. Secured profits. You left a runner running and played out well. If the confirmation candle is big like the one on GJ setup you took, you wait for the next candle to make a wick and then break the low. Yes. So that's what I did on the 15-minute here. I waited for this candle to break the low. I took the trade, took sells, came down to 10, 12 pips. I took profits, and the second sell I took somewhere over here, all the way down to support. Right, let's take a look here. Your USD 30-minute chart. Yeah, I think you had a good trade. You had a good idea that for price to continue down to this area here. You had a good idea. The candle here closed bearish. You took the sell, and it was just unfortunate. I think your stop was too big. I think your stop should have been above this bearish candle's high. That's where your stop should have been. But made sense. It's unfortunate news came out.
It was a pretty good Monday, to be honest.
Yeah. Nice and simple. We had some fundamentals talk to cover up the time where price is consolidating. Is someone in sells? Will Gijo go back in sells? Well, since this candle is closing bullish, it's very tough to say that Gijo is going to go back to sells. It's extremely tough because you have a 30-minute candle closing bullish. So I don't think the sells are gonna formulate. Can you give me a hint on how to stick to my plan? I think the biggest hint to stick to your plan is to just stick to your plan. Just focus on 1 or 2 trades and then you're going to be sticking to your plan automatically. Good morning, guys. First time on this live. Really liking the information here. What time does this usually start? Well, Mr. GSR, pretty long name over there. It says right in the description. What would we look for? A confirmation for buys. If you're looking for buys on GJ, since you cannot take a buy now because the stop is going to be way too big, it's going to be like a 28 pip stop. If you're anticipating this to be a fake out, aggressive entry would be somewhere where it is right now with like a 14, 15 pip stop because you wouldn't want the next candle to come all the way down to retrace here. I think an ideal position to take a buy is going to be if you have a 30-minute candle closing like this above this area, and then you can expect this low to be respected and continuation up to that area. So, you know, this candle would be your buying candle in the most ideal scenario. So whenever I'm looking at the trades, I'm constantly visualizing how I want candles to form, how I want candles to move. I'm constantly visualizing that in my mind. And when that visualizing, you know, comes true, then I'm like, oh, perfect. You know, this is exactly what I anticipated. This is what happened, so it should happen again. Thank you for the time, Raja. What is one tip you would give as a trader? Just follow your plan. Could you explain higher highs, higher low with the candle bodies? Let's see here. Yeah, so I mean, this was a lower high and a lower low. This was another lower high and a lower low. So whenever candles start making lower highs, lower lows, then that means price is most probably going to continue down. You know, so if this candle closes bullish and the next candle you have closing bullish, then you could say, okay, the next candle has made a higher high and a higher low above support. And then you can anticipate the next one to continue going up. We're going to cover all that in great detail on May 17th. Oh, this is a great question. Sir, please tell me where to trade, how to trade. I want pips. Logic behind a lot of this chat is incredible. Oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's pretty hard to say when to trade and where to trade. Can you help analysis with AUD and ZD? You need to send a chart. Oh, it was a joke. Yeah, so since this candle is now closing bullish on the 30-minute chart, there's a very high chance we might see a continuation up to 132.400. You know, but then the next candles have to stay above 132.100 for that to happen. Oh, take care, Monty. Have fun. Who is the next guest on Friday? I think we should make Fridays like a guest Fridays. Or Finicky Fridays. And then we should have guests on Finicky Fridays.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Finicky. Yeah, I'll see who wants to come on. Let's have Forex Rob. Forex Rob has nothing good to say about trading. It's not gonna benefit. So we'll see what we can do. Please make a video on Renko chart. How can I make a video on something I don't know? That's like saying, hey, please make a video on how to juggle when I don't know how to juggle things. Would it be safe to enter off of the 15-minute GJ? So you're entering GJ 15 minutes. So I think it's not going to be safe to enter buy based on the GJ chart. It's going to be more of an aggressive entry because you're probably going to be basing this trade off of the fact that, okay, once this candle breaks the high of the previous 15-minute candle, then you're anticipating it to continue moving bullish, and that's where you can take an aggressive entry. But for a conservative entry, you'd want to wait for the 30-minute candle to close bullish. Might get Carol Baskin on. I've heard she does like different live streams here and there.
For real?
Yeah. Yeah. For publicity, you know, so we'll see what we can do.
How to go full margin on tigers?
Yeah.
And, you know.
I've actually sent a bunch of emails to a few people. I've sent emails to Jordan Belfort. They haven't replied yet. So let's see what happens. So, you know, like, oh, gold is breaking above 1703. Very cool, very cool. With the fact that GJ current hour doesn't have a lower wick come into play, no, not at this point, because it's too far away. You know, for GJ 1 hour to continue move all the way down and break this low and continue down in the next 30 minutes, you would then need this 30-minute candle to go all the way down here. So now you have to look at it in terms of probability, right? We had support here, which you know, market open respected, went up all the way, did its dance, whatever it had to do, came down and broke this support at market open, which was there at market open, came further down and then tapped back up again and now closed above 132.100. So now you have to say, okay, what's the probability that this 30-minute candle is going to come all the way down and break the low? you know, the probability is going to be pretty low. You know, I think there's going to be a higher probability that this candle would form bullish, and then you can expect the next one to continue bullish. Yeah, it's all a wait. It's all a wait right now. But ideally on the daily, I want to see sells. That's what I want to see ideally on the daily. This is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at this support form, which is formed on the 21st till the 22nd, and then on the 29th April. I'm looking at this area to hold on GJ right here. Because if this was a 4-hour time frame, if this was a 1-hour time frame, I would be all over into the selling idea, 100%. 100% I'd be into sells in this on this chart. Since this is a daily time frame, it could still make sense, you know, for the next candles to continue down, you know, like this, and the next one to possibly continue down over here to coming down to the support. You know, because this was a low made, price went up, created. If this daily candle closes below 132.300, then you know you can say, okay, a resistance has been formed potentially, and now we could see a move continuing down to 131 or 13800. So that's my high time frame bias, and that will be ultimately be the weekly wick fill, 130, yeah, 136.40, something somewhere over there. It'll be pretty good if it happens. I'll be pretty happy. But so far, what we have now is obviously we're trading on the small time frame, so we're basing our areas off of the smaller time frames, right? Off of the small time frames like this. Then we have a support right over here. So now if you start breaking it down based on the 1 hour, you have, once this support gets broken, you have the next area of interest down over here. And then after this, you have another area of interest down over here. And then you have the final area of interest down over here around 13800. You see how this bottom here, this is the daily low right over here. This is the daily low. That's also the weekly wick fill. But if you look on the 1 hour, you have steps, right? You have steps. Once you break this support, we have another range down to like 33 pips. Below here, we have another one down to like 33, and then we have another one down to like, you know, like a 40, 50 pip range here. So price has to move in steps on the small time frames to continue moving all the way down. Pretty good. Just waiting. What was the IG of the guest? It was, let me just write it down here. Right down in the YouTube chat. So your JPY has just been ranging here. These candles couldn't break above, and now it just started to range. Do you see my chart? No, I don't see your chart. Where was this channel all this time? Oh, we were around. Can you view this chart on GJ? Let's take a look. This is, oh, wrong chart. He sent the wrong chart. GBP AUD buy, question mark. I think you need to send a chart for GBP AUD. Nice, someone's looking for sells over here. Beautiful. I think it could play out for you. It's coming down. Do you think we're close to a depression? I think the depression has already started. Depression in terms of, like if you look at the news, you'll see that the domestic cases have had a spike because, people are confined in their homes. Um, some of them are are drinking more than they used to. They're smoking more than they used to, So I think that's like a modern age depression happening right now as we speak. So recession and depression goes hand in hand. Like people are staying home and government is paying them money to stay home. So it's just a very bad state of humanity right now. Please create a sound effect on Magic Keys for ooh, wrong chart. That'll be hilarious. Or accidentally you open one too many position and it says ooh, too many positions. Ooh, full margin. Why are you ignoring? Oh, please check. Yeah, because you're not sending the correct chart. How long does Magic Key takes to get to Australia? The thing about Post is, like, when you look at what's happening currently with the Corona and COVID-19, everything is functioning at 50% capacity. Most people are not coming into work because they've been giving an option. Hey, you have an option to stay home. So some people are taking that option to stay home. People who are going to work, they're getting $50 extra a day to come to work. This is the part of the plan with the governments. This is why they're giving out money, because if you're going to come into the office, the employer is paying you a little extra to come into work. So everything's working at 50% capacity. Mail services are slow. Everything is slow. So things are taking time longer than it used to. Have you ever made money? Sure. What's this? Vegetarian traders are thriving in depression. Yes. Oh wow, restrictions have been lifted in Australia. Man, hope they remove restrictions in Canada too. I want to go get the steak with the boys.
Yeah, man.
Get like a nice, go to like Jacobs and Co. or STK and just eat nice. Just treat myself. Someone's saying I'm a scammer. Yeah, sure. So many questions in this chat. Yes. Oh, someone sent a chart. Let's take a look here. So today we brainwashed most people to take sells on GJ and GPCAD. That's what we did today. What's this? Support is respected, buys above here, sells if resistance formed. Yeah, that makes sense. Like if you see a 30-minute candle closing bearish, then there's a high chance you're going to see price continue moving down. So that's true. Someone's saying, why don't you invite Sean Lee as a guest? I'd love to have him as a guest. I'd love that. But
his ego won't allow it.
Yeah, like he won't accept it. Plus, he has blocked me for the 5th time this year, so I don't know what's going on. I just don't know.
That's okay. Everyone has egos. It's great.
The thing is, everyone's welcome to be a guest here on the live stream. We've never said no to nobody. We've always said, yeah, come.
Well, it's interesting because everybody complains about what gets done, yet they come on here and leverage it, and then like a week later they say it's crap. Like this is like their sounding board to come out and talk here. Invite FTMO trader. I thought that was funny. Social media is interesting.
Oh man, my page blew up last night. Woke up
But
to
I
like
mean,
50 messages.
don't people realize you do that on purpose? Like, I looked at that and I just laughed. I got so many DMs about that. I just ignored all of them because I'm like, that's just Raja being Raja. Like,
Yeah.
haven't you guys figured that out already? Like, he's gonna push the envelope as much as he can, and he gets a reaction out of everybody. I did appreciate some of the stories. People are like, well, this and this and this, and I'm like, well, people that are responding are partners of FTMO. They're other people, and it's just like, if you're getting paid, then you shouldn't have any issues, right? Like, why are people getting so offended?
The funny thing was the only people who responded were, you're right, like either they were affiliates or they were trying to get something out of it. Those were the only. But like, yeah, the thing was, so I wanted to change the topic from the morning. Like yesterday, the topic was like fake followers, and then I said, okay, what else I can incorporate in a Sunday? And I'm like, oh, okay, this seems like a good topic. Let's do this. It was
But
funny.
it's just funny because everybody asks, what do you think of these things? And it's like, well, why don't these things have actual people that you can go speak to about this? Right? Like, if these things are so grandiose, why don't we have people like posting about them more often? Like, I mean, and I don't care either way because first of all, if I have my own money, I don't want to trade someone else's money because essentially now you're basically a prostitute for someone and they're pimping you to trade. Two, if you can't trade $1,000 account, you're not going to trade $100,000 account. Three, you're spending money to win a demo account to trade more money, and the money that you keep dumping in to lose, you could have had a reasonable account and made your money that you want to. To be honest, these groups are playing on emotions of greed and fear of missing out. And it's just, I would just want full transparency. I would want to see statistics on how many people actually are succeeding, right? And the only statistic I have right now is it says 90% of people are not succeeding, and that was from someone who's a sponsored educator for that prop fund, I guess.
True.
And that's all. And I mean, if you're going to talk about things, I just want to hear objective opinions, and I want to be able to hear from people that have, good and bad. Because once again, it's okay to have good opinions, but I also want to hear all the bad things because I want to be able to weigh both sides and then say, okay, where are those positive opinions coming from? Like, what weight do those positive opinions come from? Like, is it somebody who's being paid? Is it someone who's part of that? They're a partner. And where are the negative ones coming from? Is it a troll account? Does this person have no followers and they're just angry at life? Like, that's how I would properly evaluate something. I wouldn't just turn around and say, oh, well, there's negative things, it's bad. I'd be like, okay, well, what is the comment? Like, what are we talking about in terms of negativity? And what are we talking about in terms of positivity? And evaluate the discussion based on that and then make an informed decision. Because it's like going to a restaurant, right? You can have like 5 Yelp reviews that say the food's great and 5 that are bad. So it's like, okay, well, if they're bad, who's writing them and in what context are they bad? Oh, the food arrived late. Well, to me, that's not really a bad thing. I still got my food, so I can prepare myself to say, okay, food might take longer, but it's still good, right? But that was a negative review. So it's just, I would want to be a little bit more critical of the actual ideas, and maybe that could be a guest for you, Raja, on Fridays. you can't see. I don't want to. I don't want to go to a website and have someone sell me something, because if I go to Mercedes-Benz, they tell me they're the best car. If I go to BMW, they're the best car. I don't want to hear from the place where I'm purchasing. I want to hear from people who have purchased. Raja is looking out his window. They've been saying 90% of traders fail for 90 years. 100% of people on YouTube win. Go figure. That's true.
I had this conversation about how 90% of traders fail. Like, that number can't be accurate, because 90% of traders fail because they have no education. So they jump in the market and they trade their accounts. But stack that number up against the actual people that has education. For example, just like he just stated on the YouTube channel, 90% of traders win. So these guys are educated versus the other 90 that's not educated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I also think too, it's a skewed number, because when they say 90% of traders fail, what out of that 90%, what do we consider failure? Like that's when we get to empirical data, and I'd want to understand, what is failure? Is it I ran out of money, I gave up, I don't know, I didn't know what I was doing to begin with, right? What I would like to see is, if you had 100 traders that were given a proper education and a proper, risk, whatever it is, in terms of understanding risk, understanding psychology, would those 100 traders, out of those 100 traders, how many would fail? And I don't think it would be 90. I think it would be maybe 60 or 70 that would fail. I still think you would have 30 that would succeed, and the 60 or 70 that would fail, they wouldn't fail entirely. There would be one part of the education component that they were not able to grasp. So to me, that's not technically a failure. That just means they don't want to do this anymore. Failing means that you can't do any portion of trading. And I think a lot of people can do trading. It's just there's one or two components that break them, or they stop or they get bored. So I think, yeah, the 90% rule, I mean, you can still argue that it's around, but I think it has to be pulled in with a little bit more data. Like, there has to be a little bit more information surrounding how 90% of people fail. Like, why are they failing? Like, I mean, you can say 90% of people get into car accidents. Well, yeah, if they've never had formal driver training and they get into the car the first time, yeah, the rate of accidents are going to go up. And if you have 15 people on the road like that, all beside each other, chances are someone's going to hit them, right?
Yeah, true.
So I think that's what we need to do, and just look at that. But yeah, I think I think the FTMO challenge, or whatever they call it, is a very good business model. They pay you to take the challenge, and Raja did make some very good points. Why, after 2 months of trading a demo account, would you be qualified to trade a $100,000 live account? I think that would be the biggest question that I would have if they came on as a guest. I would want to hear the rationale behind that, because I would not give someone who's trading for 2 months, because they passed a rules-based criteria, money to trade, because those 2 months in a vacuum could have been a very easy 2 months to trade. The market could have trended the week that they did it, and you figure too, there's one challenge where you have to have survived for 10 days essentially in the market. People trade for 1 or 2 days and then they sit out of the market for 8 days. Is that going to happen in their actual live account? So I think that would be a valid question, and I think that would be I would just want to hear the rationale behind that. I mean, like I said, I'm not knocking their business model. Anyone who's successful and makes money in business, hey, go for it, like 100%. I think the stat they had was they had 90%. I think I calculated they made about $4 million in revenue based on they had, I think it was like 3,000 traders fail. Oh no, they had 625 successful traders, and that was the 10% of their or it was 8%. Yeah, 8% of their traders were successful, and the number was 625. So it was like basically you had a huge upside of people that were failing. So that means that they were depositing or paying money and not succeeding. And I did the calculation when I worked the math backwards, and it worked out to be like something like $4 million or $5 million they've made.
Wow, that's an impressive number.
Yeah.
So basically, how much they paid to enter the challenge?
Yeah, so it's anywhere between $300 to $500, and they said only 8% of the participants were successful. So if you take an average of $400, and they said only 625 people were successful. So if you do an average of $400, 8%, you're looking at basically, I would say 6,000 people that tried, around there. So if you multiply 6,000 times 400, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think on this US30 chart, you'll need some sort of a resistance to be formed, like a minor resistance, and then continuation down, because I think it's making a low. I haven't seen US30 enough to give a definite answer, but that's what it seems like. Yeah, maybe like a retest to continue moving down. You see, one interesting statistic I would really want to see is that let's say you had 100 people who signed up for FTMO. Like, could you really categorize people in terms of experience? Like, let's say someone had someone spent 3 years in the markets, and as regard to someone spent, let's say, 3 weeks, and if a trader signed up, if they had any education or not. Based on that, you could say that, okay, well, these group of people who had education, they did well, but these majority of the group, they had no education and they did not do well, which was expected. So I think that's where a little bit of like code of ethics also come in, that, okay, like, you know what, if these people are really coming in to get a chance to trade $100,000 accounts when they've only been trading for 2 months, they have no education, so that's a for sure shortfall. I mean, that's 100% they will lose. Like, there's no doubt in my mind about that. So I think those kind of statistic, I'll see if we can get something done. If they can collaborate on like a rapid fire question answer or some.
Well, yeah, I just think
like
I think it would be good on a Friday when it's slow, if they came in at around 9 o'clock or something like that, to see if they would just answer. Because I mean, like I said, I'm not discounting their business model, because they're making money. It's a perfect business model. Like, I never get upset with people who are making money, but what I'm trying to understand is what's the rationale behind giving traders who aren't seasoned based on their information money. Like, all you're doing, you're basically, it goes back to like when you play poker. What I'm doing is I'm spreading my money out amongst 10 or 15 horses, and I'm hoping one of those horses hit it big for me, and I'll get my money back plus more, because they do like a 70-30 profit split. So you're saying, okay, if I give away $1 million, the most I'm losing is, out of that $1 million, is 100,000, because once I go past 10,000 or whatever magical number they have, excuse me, they're going to cut me off. And then second of all, if one of those guys magically actually does trade, I keep basically 30% of what they're making. So I mean, it's a very, very good business model, and if there's no benefit to the actual trader, because essentially you're constricted to a fact that you think you're going to make money. The leverage is 100 to 1. So you're stuck working with small, like, you know, obviously it won't really affect you in terms of capital, but as soon as you break that restriction, you're out, right? So as soon as you hit that 10K stop loss, you're done. And now you have to restart everything from the get-go again. I don't think they go through background checks.
And to be honest, when people say that I've been hating on FTMO, it's not about that. I've had legitimate questions that I've been addressing, you know, so.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, it's a very good, it's a very good product. I wish I had thought of that. I mean, it's basically a no-brainer.
All right, you guys have a good day.
All right, take care.
See you there, come on.
All right.
Looks like your JPY is coming up to a consolidation area. So this is why looking left is important here. You look left, you're like, oh, there was consolidation before. So price either going to reject it or it's going to come into here and start consolidating. How big is this range? This is a 20 pip range. That's okay. New 4-hour candle has started. 4-hour candle closed bearish, closed below the previous candles, looking like it might, yeah, it's in a range right now. So I guess it'll have to break below 131.880 to continue moving bearish to 131.600. That's a 30 pip range, no? This yeah, 30 pip range could be a nice trade later on if there's volume. Sir, wicks don't lie. Yes, sir. Hourly candle in GU looks good to continue down. Yeah, someone sent that chart. I looked at it too. Which broker do you recommend for someone in Iran? See, I'm in Canada, so if I was in Iran, I would be able to tell you, but I'm in Canada. If you're in Canada, I can tell you that, but not in Iran. Ooh, GJ is pushing up. See, if you want this 4-hour to continue down, one thing people look for is like, okay, it has to make a top wick and then continue down. And when you go to small time frames, top wicks on a higher time frame, let's say the 4-hour, is made on like the smaller time frame resistances, right? So you'd probably want to see a top wick created in this area right over here, and then start moving down. But if we break above this area, then, you know, like top wick is not being made, and then, you know, price broke a minor technical level to continue moving bullish. I don't know if you know this, but since you like stats, if you right click on profit on MT5 and then go to report, it'll bring up a lot of your stats. Oh, nice. Yeah, I know with like when you install Magic Keys, it shows you your stats in the top left corner as well. It also shows you the probability of the win on the pair. You know, like if you only trade GJ, it's going to show you what's your probability that you're going to win based on your previous wins and losses. What's the tax rate for Forex in Canada? It depends if you have a sole proprietorship, corporation, or personal. It depends. Hey Ted, hey Raja, could you guys recommend some Forex book or something to learn more about emotional when dealing with money? No, you have to you have to learn emotions. Emotions are learned by practicing. So, you know, you have to go live and then you have to do it. Raja, is your broker regulated or not? Yes, I'm Advantage FX. I guess it's Vantage FX is unregulated in the US and Canada. It's regulated in Australia. It doesn't really matter though anyway. Yeah, like my last trade was like around 2 hours ago, exactly 2 hours ago. Have you tried Vantage FX Roy CN? Yes, that's what I use. Raja keeps all his receipts to write off taxes. Actually, Raja does not spend money at all. I mean, my close friends know that I don't spend money at all. I mean, I don't just. I bought flip-flops from Walmart for $5 the other day. You know, just because I needed them. I didn't want them. I want a TV, so I'm gonna maybe buy like a nice TV. But like things that are in need, you know, those I don't spend a lot on. Can you bring on a tax expert for US Canada? Yes, your closest tax expert is your accountant. Call him. Call your accountant. I call my accountant every 4 days. Every 4 days, I give my accountant a call. Hey, I'm trying to do this. What do you think I should do? Do you trade sessions or when there's a setup? I trade sessions. I basically trade pre-New York. I trade from 6:30 till 9. You know, so I'll try to look for like 1 or 2 trades between that time. Luckily, I caught 2 trades at the same time around 7 a.m. 1 hour before New York opened. So that was my day. Those trades lasted maybe like what 5 minutes, 6 minutes max, 8 minutes with a runner. That's it. I mean those were 2 trades I took. And you know, sometimes your trades take like half an hour to formulate, 40 minutes to formulate. They take maybe 20 minutes to get to where you want them to be. You know, sometimes it takes like 6, 7, 8 minutes. You know, and today was the day where the trade took 8 minutes, and that was the trade for the day, and that means I was done at that point. You know, trading is a sales job. That's what I learned. I used to do door-to-door sales. A lot of people know this, and it's like a sales job. You know, sometimes we'd go out, we knock on 100 doors, nothing, zero. Some days, I remember this one time we were in up in Sudbury, and we started knocking at like 10 a.m. By 1 p.m. I had 6 sales. 1 p.m. I had 6 sales. We were getting paid $1,300 a sale. So I had 6 sales by 1 p.m. And at that time I was like, hey, you know, like my day is done. You know, but there would be some days where you just knock the pavement all day and you'd get one lousy sale at the end of the day. You know, so it's the same thing here with trading. I think that really built my mindset. Like with trading, some days you'll get your trades early in the day, and some days you'll get just dog shit ranging. You know, there's nothing. What's your biggest cash out of your account? I think it was like 31,000. What do you think about choose a pair, do exactly what you guys do? Yeah. Oh wow, look, it broke the high on the 30-minute. Now it's continuing moving bullish. It's back in the range. That was a fake out. I think it's going to continue up to 132,400, like 10 more pips, 8 more pips.
DJ is holding awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you wait for a retest? No, I wouldn't take any trades. If I was looking for a trade, if I missed this trade, I'd probably be looking at, okay, I could have entered once it was breaking the high here. I think I mentioned that. Once it was breaking the high, and then take it going up. But you know, now the 4 hour, now you can see that, okay, maybe it's broken that minor resistance there. So maybe there might not be a top wick, or it's just continuing up. But I'm not going to be here on the charts to see if there's going to be a top wick or not, because I'm probably going to leave in 10 minutes. I think if you're looking for buys on GG, I think you want to see like a price come down, create support, and then continue going up. That's the one thing. Whenever you see price moving, you're enticed to take a trade. When you see price moving up, you're like, okay, I'm going to take a buy over here. But if you're going to take a buy, man, your stop is going to be way down over here. So it's better to wait for a retracement so that, okay, for buys, you know your stop is going to be down over here. You know, whether you take a buy up over here or down over here, it's going to be up over here. So you need to identify how big you want your stop. If you want your stop loss to be like, you know, like 14, 15 pips, then you'd want price to come down to 132, 200 for you to take your trade with confirmations and then continue going up. Is 50 to 1 leverage bad? Yeah, it's pretty good. It'll keep you within the risk limits. Oh, we tapped 132, 400. I think we had a pretty good informative session today. When a higher low is made, what time frame would you look at for support resistance? I think 30-minute is pretty good. 15-minute also pretty good. If we do continue up, I think it's going to correct half of this. It's already corrected half of this move down from earlier on. In your personal opinion, should someone look at multiple pairs or focus on just one or two? I think just focus on one or two pairs. Just do what winners do. You know, I just did what people around me who were winning did, and just did that. Just focus on one or two pairs, and things just start to make sense. How are you planning for retirement when trading is so uncertain? I have certain things on the go, so retirement is pretty far away, man. I'm only 33 years old. Well, I'm going to turn 33. It's too far away. Let's just say that financially I'm comfortable. Retirement is all about being comfortable, right? Like, I mean, if you're working every day and, like, you know, if you're not comfortable, then you're like, okay, I need to work a few more years to be comfortable. So it's all about being comfortable financially. I think that's really what retirement is.
Yeah, I think also too, people have to understand what they believe is going to be comfortable. There's a lot of financial, you know, people are lacking a lot of financial literacy when it comes to understanding what they really actually need versus what they want. So people's situations will be different. People believe, you know, some people can live on 2,000 or 3,000 a month. Some people will need to live on like 20 or 30,000 a month, right? So it's your financial literacy and what you believe is going to be your comfort level. I think people have misconceptions about how much money they actually need to live on. And what ends up happening is they overextend themselves based on those ideas. I can tell you right now, it's very hard for you to live an average life to spend over $10,000 a month. Once you have your mortgage paid off and your car's paid off, it's very difficult for you to spend more than $10,000 a month, even more than $5,000 a month. Very, very difficult if you're just living day to day and you're not taking trips, you're not doing anything crazy. you really don't need that much to live on. I think people have gross misconceptions about how much money they do actually need to live on. Your biggest expense is essentially your mortgage, your car payments, things of that nature. Once those items are paid off, everything else is very it's very cheap to live. I mean, you know, you spend $100 on groceries, $150 on groceries as a single person, that lasts you for a good week and a bit at least. You know, you cook your food, do whatever. But I mean, once again, if you're going to go out every night or you're going to go travel the world every week, yeah, you're going to spend more than $5,000 to $10,000 a month. But the average person, you won't be spending that. I can tell you that right now. It's people that spend it's hard to spend over $10,000 or $15,000 in a month on day-to-day necessities. The $10,000 to $15,000 a month expenditures come from overindulging in things. You know, going to high-end restaurants every night of the week, you can spend $1,500 a meal. But I mean, do you need to do that every night? Probably not, but you could. It's just, what I'm saying is, realistically, I mean, does it make sense, right?
Yeah, I can't spend a lot in a month. No, can't happen. Unless I'm eating out every day.
Yeah, like I look at my monthly expenses. My monthly expenses are maybe $2,500 a month.
Just damn, that's nothing.
Yeah.
That's really low.
Yeah, it's just there's. I mean, I don't have a lot to buy. I don't have a lot of things to do. And even trying to spend that kind of money, when you think about it, when you try and spend absorbent amounts of money, people are like, well, you should have like 5 cars, right? So I've been looking at different vehicles. I'm building, you know, I want to build a car collection now. I've decided that's what I want to do. I want to work on cars and things like that. I mean, the expense comes from the upkeep of the cars, and then you're like, well, basically they're just as good as trophies because they're most of the time going to be sitting around doing nothing. So then it doesn't become advantageous for you to have 5 cars. I mean, I struggle now with the cars that I have because it's like, all right, I got to drive this car because I haven't driven it in a week. So I got to go put some miles on it just to keep the engine good. So I mean, you get to that point where you're like, it's not feasible.
I think GJ is going to do a fake out once NY opens, may move south. NY already opened an hour ago. EJ is coming into a rejection area. Let's take a look on the daily. Daily did indeed move bullish. Yeah, it's coming into a rejection area / consolidation area over here. Ooh, what's this chart? This is the consolidation to the left, waiting for price to form resistance here with 30-minute confirmation candle for sells. Looks good. Yep. I was actually just looking at that earlier, but I'm not going to take it because now it's coming into this consolidation area, so gotta be careful. If price is going up, do you look only for resistance or support resistance? Yes. If price is moving up, I'm looking to see some sort of a support form, you know, on the 30-minute, maybe the 15-minute, but mostly the 30-minute, a support form, because once you have the support form, you can take a buy having the stop below the support and then expect price to continue move bullish. Something like this happened here earlier when I took sells on GJ. This was based on once I thought that the support was forming here, so price would continue up, make a resistance, and continue down. But at the same time, someone sent a chart, Leroy. He sent a chart in the chat, and his idea was, okay, well, instead, price can just break this low and then continue down, and that made sense too. If we're in, you know, if we're in a downtrend and candles start making lower highs and lower lows, so there's a very high probability that we would continue moving bearish, and we did. So that was a good trade earlier on. was pretty happy, pretty pleased with that. Played out. First live trade for the Monday for everybody. I think most people won that trade, so it's pretty good. Let's see what USD CAD is doing here. Ooh, came down. GP CAD. Got a nice sell on GP CAD too. I think it was this one right here, from up over here to down over here to the support. That support. That played pretty good too. $2,500 a month, that's 2 million Indian rupees. No, that's not 2 million, that's 1.2 lakh. 1.2 lakh rupees. Come on, man. Math is wrong. I think we're approaching the time for me to go. What time is it? 9:20.
Yeah, I gotta get on Warzone. I'm getting good at that game.
Plunder.
Yes, I'm a master plunder now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've been noticing you collect a lot of cash. That's your motive.
Yeah. But I'm also getting better at shooting people now too, so that's good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Pretty good. What's this?
Since it's snowing, so I have to stay inside.
Yeah, I can't go outside anyway.
Right. Have a good one.
Right, take care. Just gonna,
Okay.
when price is creating support, are you waiting the 15-minute to keep breaking the highs of the previous 15-minute candle, or does it not matter if the second 15-minute candle closes in the opposite direction, as long as support is formed and confirmed 30-minute time frame? Yeah, so I mean, let's try to see if you can find. Okay, so all right, let's take a look here. So this is the 30-minute chart. Let's go to 15 minutes. So basically, if this 15-minute candle here closes bullish, then there's a support formed, you know. But this support is going to be weak support because it's on the 15-minute time frame. And then you go look at the 30-minute. If the 30-minute closes bullish, then you'll say, okay, now this is a stronger support. But at the same time, now you see this rejection here. It's rejecting 1702. It got rejected here as well, you know, earlier on before London Open. And you have 15-minute closing bullish now in like 9 minutes. So then you could say, okay, maybe on the 30-minute, this is some sort of a rejection. You know, so you could say, okay, it's going to go up. But let's assume that this was the 30-minute time frame here. If this was the 30-minute time frame, then it would be a much stronger support for price to continue moving bullish. You know, and then if you go down to the smaller time frame, let's say this was the 15-minute time frame, and if the 15-minute candle closes bearish, then you're going to look at the 30-minute and say, okay, well, you know, even though the 15-minute closed bearish here, then I guess the 30-minute closed bullish, so probably going to base the trade off of the 30-minute chart, you know. So I mean, at the same time, you want candles to close like healthy candles too, because if you have healthy candles, then that trade probability of that trade playing out is much more. But if you have, let's say if this candle closes like a small bullish candle, then that means there's less volume, you know, then the probability of it playing out becomes less. So when a probability of a trade playing out becomes less, you automatically reduce your risk. That's, I think, that's really important. I think I've gotten really good. Like, I don't like tooting my own horn, but I think I've gotten really good at reducing my risk. Just by looking at the candles and how they're closing, are they closing like, you know, in my direction or what? All right, let's take a look at this last chart and then I'm going to call it a day. So this is, wow, gold 15-minute chart. You're in a buy. There's no labeling on this chart. There's no nothing on this chart. And nothing. Are you going to teach that on May 17th? Okay, so the May 17th webinar is not going to be on YouTube. That's for the members. Let's just get that out of the way. Gold buy stops at 1708. 1708. No, because then you're taking buy stops at resistance, right? It doesn't make sense to take buy stops at resistance. That's a very bad idea. pretty hard because gold is ranging on the 4 hour. It's pretty hard to say where it's going to move. I mean, if the 1 hour starts closing bearish, it could start moving bearish. 30-minute hasn't closed yet. It's going to close in 6 minutes, so you'll have to wait for it to see where it closes and then make a decision. Are you going to go over risk management? Yes. All right, everyone. Take care. I'm going to call it a day. Have fun. Thank you, Carvin.
Take care, Raja.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
For the day.
Yes, sir. Good day today. Take care, everybody.
Yeah, man.